All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about something super important today, unlocking your child's spatial genius. The goal here is to give you a real, practical guide for helping them turn those super tricky 3D puzzles from something frustrating into a real source of confidence. Have you ever had that moment? You're watching your kid, maybe they're working on a math kangaroo problem, and they're just staring at one of those 3D questions, like a folded cube or a rotated shape, and they're completely stuck. It's so tough to watch, right? Frustrating for them, and honestly frustrating for you too, because you're not sure how to help. Well, what if I told you there's a really clear way to get them unstuck? Okay, so first things first, let's make sure we're all talking about the same thing. What is spatial reasoning? Think of it like a mental superpower. It's the ability to see and move objects around in your head, folding them, rotating them, flipping them, all in your mind's eye. You don't even have to touch them. It's basically the engine that powers so much of that higher level problem solving. All right, so let's talk about the challenge itself. For a lot of kids, especially in those early grades, maybe 1st through 6th, this stuff can feel like a huge hurdle. But here's the good news. It's totally solvable. You just need the right game plan. And this right here, this is probably the most important thing to get. This isn't like memorizing math facts or spelling words. Spatial reasoning is a muscle, a flexible mental muscle. And just like any other muscle, it has to be trained and strengthened. You can't just cram for it. So, if it's a muscle, the next logical question is, how do we build it? Well, that brings us to the solution. And it all starts with the foundation, which is making sure we're doing the right kind of practice. And here's the secret sauce, the absolute key. It's not just practice makes perfect. It's focused, varied practice. Seriously, those two words, focused and varied, that's the whole game. Just look at the difference here. On one side, you have rote memorization. That's like doing the exact same math problem the same way 10 times in a row. It's rigid. But on the other side, you have mental flexibility. That's where your child solves the same type of problem with all sorts of little twists and variations. That's what makes their thinking adaptable and transferable to new problems they've never seen before. So what does this varied practice actually look like? Well, let's get specific. For cube problems, instead of just using one standard net, you'd practice with different nets, different symbols, maybe even different colors on the faces. For folding problems, you change it up. Move where the hole punches are, or change the number of folds. With rotation, you don't just do 90-degree turns, you do 180-degree turns too, so they really see how things change. You see? This variety is what builds a brain that's ready for anything. And the best part is, you can build this into a really simple, powerful daily habit. It's not about hours of work. Step 1, focus. Just pick one skill area for the day. Maybe it's rotation. Step 2, practice. But only for like 10 or 15 minutes. That's it. And step 3, repeat. You do this every day, but you rotate through the different skills. This idea is called spaced repetition, and it's how you make learning stick without burning anyone out. Okay, so daily, varied practice, that's the foundation. That's non-negotiable. But what if you want to put your foot on the gas and really accelerate things? Well, that's where another powerful piece of the puzzle comes in, a tutor. Now, I know what you might be thinking. There are apps and workbooks for this, right? And yeah, those are great tools. But a good tutor sees what workbooks and software simply can't see. Let me break down what I mean by that human advantage. A tutor can literally pinpoint the exact moment your child's thinking goes off the rails. They provide what's called verbal scaffolding. Basically, they talk through the problem out loud, giving your child a model for their own inner voice. Plus, they can adjust the difficulty in real time to keep your child challenged but not overwhelmed. And maybe most importantly, they help your child start to think about how they think. That's called metacognition, and it's a huge deal. I love this quote because it gets right to the heart of it. A tutor watches their process, not just the final answer. Think about it. An app just marks an answer right or wrong, but a tutor can ask that magic question. Talk me through how you saw that. And that question is what uncovers the root of the problem. That is an absolute game changer. And by constantly tweaking the difficulty, making it a little tougher when your kid is crushing it, and easing up when they start to struggle, the tutor keeps them in this perfect sweet spot for learning. You may have heard of it. It's called the zone of proximal development. Basically, it's the Goldilocks zone, challenged enough to grow, but not so frustrated that they want to quit. It builds resilience instead of anxiety. All right, so we've talked about the power of varied practice, and we've talked about the unique advantage of a tutor. So, how do we put these two big ideas together? Let's build your winning strategy step by step. And you know what the best part is? It's not complicated. at all. The entire game plan really just comes down to two simple parts. That's it, just two.
This is all about teamwork. It's a two-part strategy where you and the tutor have different but equally important jobs. So look at this. The tutor's role, maybe in a weekly session, is to be the diagnostician. They find the gaps, they introduce the new skills. Then there's your job as the parent. You're the reinforcer. You take what the tutor introduced and lock it in with that short 10 to 15-minute daily practice. See how they fit together perfectly?
Let me put it another way, because this is so important. The tutor builds the foundation, but you're the one who makes it stick. They build it, you make it permanent. Both roles are absolutely crucial for success. At the end of the day, look, this isn't really about getting a better score on a single test. It's about building something much bigger, a confident, flexible mind that isn't afraid of a challenge. So the real question for you is, what's one small thing you can do to start building that confidence for your child?